was a kid, I hated it. I was very afraid of everything. But as I've gotten older, I enjoy it a lot more, and I enjoy how it can make me feel, if I'm just sitting in a chair reading a book, how it can make me forget where I am.
I absolutely love horror.
I also like a lot of other kinds of fiction, but I just think horror is always going to be the most exciting to me.
Probably the Goosebumps.
And I also read like Goosebumps by R.L. Stein. I think he's like pretty genius in the horror industry, you know?
Yeah, especially in like younger kids. He's really impacted them. Like my younger sisters are 10 and 11 and they're reading R.L. Stein.
When I was little, I used to really like the Deep and Dark and Dangerous and like Wait Till Helens Comes, like those type of books. They just scared everyone else in my class, but like they didn't scare me, so that's why I kind of liked them.
The Shining by Stephen King, and I didn't sleep for a couple days after that one.
I read a little bit too much of Stephen King.
My favorite book is It by Stephen King.
I'm really into It by Stephen King.
It by Stephen King.
It's kind of the horror that follows you throughout, how something can happen and then affect you years later.
But I think sometimes it can be a little bit demeaning towards women. So I also read a lot of Shirley Jackson because I think that people do not read women horror writers as much. I really like We've Always Lived in the Castle because it centers upon like 2 female characters.
I've read Frankenstein, which is pretty good.
I've read like the literature, like if you want to say Faustus and Frankenstein and all that kind of stuff could be considered horror. The signing a pact with the devil to get something that you want has a lot to do with greed. And then within that, it expands on like the good angel and the bad angel. That's kind of where that all originated from, was from Faustus.
I've read some Edgar Allan Poe. The one where the guy kills someone and then buries him and he can hear the heartbeat.
I am a nonfiction reader. The horror genre that I've read in the nonfiction area is more based on the author of John Douglas. He's the one who started the behavioral science unit for catching, as they call them, serial killers. He coined that term, actually, serial killer. It's definitely the genre of horror. I mean, this is possibly like one of the most horrific stories you can get is someone like a serial killer. It's like the modern day boogeyman.
Scary stories from other people mostly. People posting their own stories online. They kind of tie in like conspiracy theories into the horror, which is really, really scary if you really think about it too hard.
I would say what makes it a good like horror like movie or story, you have to have like a suspenseful plot.
The suspense, the fact that you don't know what's gonna happen.
A good voice, and then just being able to incorporate the weird and the uncanny into your stories.
Definitely the psychological aspect.
Like especially with The Shining.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Knowing that we're in a safe space, but can still experience the fear, but instead we experience it as the excitement.
So I think it's something that we find fascinating because it's something that we don't experience ourselves very often.
Even though it's freaking you out, you don't want to stop reading it. You want to know what's happening and what's going to happen in the end. Even though someone might die or something bad might happen, you have to know what happens in the end.